Hello everyone, my name is Peng Yang. I come from Jilin University. The title of my presentation is Modeling and Forecasting the Stock Market Volatility of China's Listed Tourism Companies in a Stable Environment. My presentation including the following 5 parts. There are background and objectives, methodology, data, empirical study, conclusion and limitation. Tourism is an industry that is highly comprehensive, correlated, and sensitive to external shocks. In particular, the performance of its tourism stock market is often closely related to external shocks. At the same time, tourism is also an oil-intensive industry. The tourism industry's dependence on oil is mainly due to its transportation costs. The influence of oil will have a direct impact on tourism activities. There are a lot of researches on the tourism stock market, but the existing tourism literature mainly focuses on the relationship between tourism stock returns and macroeconomic variables. Study on stock market and uncertainty shocks are limited, especially before the recent outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. The data frequency of stock volatility and uncertainty shocks is mismatched. The traditional way to deal with this problem is to change the high frequency data into low frequency data to model and analyze under the low frequency framework. However, the data frequency conversion means that some information is lost. The Gauch-Midas model proposed by Engel et al. 2013 solves the mixed frequency problem. This model is the most popular methodology for investigating the relationships between stock volatility and economic variables. Thus, it is quite appropriate to use the Gauch-Midas model in our study. And Amendola et al. 2019 and Wang et al. 2020 evaluate the volatility associated with positive and negative shocks to macro variables. This paper, we use the trend asymmetric Gauch-Midas model to forecast the stock volatility of China's listed tourism companies and investigate the impact of external shocks represented by the oil shocks and the uncertainty of infectious disease on the tourism stock market volatility forecast. We propose 3 possible channels for asymmetry. The first is captured by the sum of the returns in the short-run component of Gauch. The third channel of asymmetry is associated with different shapes in the function weighting lagged variable according to whether they are positive or negative. The third asymmetric effect comes from some specific parameters in the relationship between the weighted sum of lagged uncertainty shocks volatility in the long-run component. In the following empirical results, it is found that asymmetric effect in the short-run component is not significant. Therefore, we only modify the Gauch-Midas model in the later 2 ways. The Gauch-Midas model can include data from mixed frequency in the same model, where R is the return of the stock market. Mu is the daily expected return. Its conditional variance delta square is decomposed into a short-run and a long-run component. In the following, we use the G and tau as the short-run and the long-run variance components. G is a Gauch 1-1 process, and the phi is a suitable function weighting the past K realizations of uncertainty shocks. Besides, the weight function is usually set to obey a beta function. We extend the Gauch-Mills model to account for the asymmetric effect in the long-run volatility. Named the trend asymmetric Gauch-Mills, labeled as TAGM. Theta positive and theta negative represent the asymmetric response to the one-side filter, and phi positive and phi negative are suitable weighting function according to theta positive and theta negative. WSUM is the sum of weighting function that the lag uncertainty shocks impact on the long-run volatility. The forecasting results were obtained through the TAGM model and the GM model. The results were measured by the following four traditional loss functions: MACE, MAE, MAPE, and Q-like. However, the traditional loss function can only be used to measure the forecasting performance through subjective judgments. Therefore, this paper will use the MCS test to analyze the result of out-of-sample forecasting performance. And the data in this article is divided in two types. One is the monthly frequency of the uncertainty shocks, and the other is the daily frequency of China's CSI Tourism Thematic Index, labeled as CTTI. And the January 2009 to December 2019 is the estimation period, and the January 2020 to August 2020 is the forecasting period. The monthly data is the infectious disease equity market volatility tracker, labeled as EMVID, constructed by Baker et al. 2020. The original time frequency of EMVID is daily, while we convert it to monthly frequency for the reason that there are many EMVID records with zero value in daily frequency. The 5 measures of global oil shocks, there are oil supply shocks, oil demand shocks, oil consumption shocks, oil inventory shocks, and economic activity shocks, which are obtained in the Energy Information Administration and the recent study of the Baumeister and Hamilton 2019. The CTTI has certain representativeness of China's tourism stock market. CTTI consists of representative stocks from the scenic spot, travel agency, hotel, and other companies benefiting from tourism. As the February 2020, CTTI reflects the behavior of 10 listed travel and leisure companies. Based on the above model and data, the empirical part of this paper is mainly divided into 3 parts for research. First, the for-sample estimation part is to use the TAGM model to investigate the impact of uncertainty shocks represented by the oil shocks and the uncertainty of infectious disease on the tourism stock market volatility. Second, in-sample estimation and out-of forecasting parts. By comparing the result of the in-sample estimation result with the for-sample, we can obtain the impact of COVID-19 epidemic on CTTI's volatility. Then the forecast results under the TAGM model are evaluated through the traditional for loss function. Finally, the MCS test results show us which uncertainty shocks have the best out-of-sample forecasting performance for the daily stock volatility of China's listed tourism companies. The table reports the description of this time series. All variables are not normally distributed. The ADF and JB test reject the null hypothesis of unit roots and prove that they are all stationary. The estimate of the full sample THM model parameters are presented in the table. The parameters of THM models such as alpha, beta, and M are all significant, indicating that the THGM model fits the stock return and can be used to forecast the stock volatility. The sign of alpha and beta are close to 1, confirming the existence of a strong volatility persistence effect and indicating a high degree of volatility persistence in the CTTI's return. Meanwhile, most of the parameters of the remaining extension based on the THGM model are also significant, implying that these extensions fit the stock return very well. And we are interested in the value of theta, which measures the effect of monthly uncertainty shocks on the long-run volatility of CTTI. In the THGM model, uncertainty shocks such as EMVID and oil consumption shocks are significantly positive regardless of the theta positive and theta negative, which indicates that the change of about 2 shocks will increase the long-run volatility of CTTI. While the oil demand, oil supply, and oil inventory shocks, the theta positive is significantly positive and the theta negative is negative. This shows that the positive of the shocks will increase the volatility of CTTI in the next month, and the negative fluctuation of the shocks will restrain the volatility of CTTI. And the effect is more significant. At the same time, it's also consistent with the psychological activities of tourism company inventors. It can be seen from the VR value, a measure of the relative importance of the long-run volatility component. As a major oil importing country, the oil demand shock accounts for the largest proportion, which is significantly larger than the oil supply shock. And EMID also affects the long-run volatility of CTTI. This picture shows the CTTI volatility and its long-run components affected by uncertainty shocks. And each uncertainty shock can better describe the long-run component volatility trend. In this figure, blue and red lines represent the positive WSUM and negative WSUM. Weighted function of oil demand shock. It shows that the changes in oil demand shocks have different weight functions and also reflects the asymmetric effect. This figure reconstructs how long-run volatility of CTTI was affected by oil demand shock. The blue line is the corresponds to the long-run volatility of CTTI affected by oil demand shocks. And the red line corresponds to the negative part of the top. And in the in-sample estimation before the COVID-19 epidemic, It can be seen from the results that there is no change in EMVID, oil consumption, oil inventory shocks. The theta positive and theta negative of oil demand and economic activity has a fundamental change. This can be explained by the oil demand and economic activities which increase the cost of the oil imports, thereby surprising the volatility of CTTI. VR value shows that as a major oil importing country, the oil demand shock and economic activity account for the almost proportion, which is in line with the actual situation in China. EMVID has mainly affected the long-run volatility of CTTI during COVID-19 epidemic. The out of simple forecasting. In the out of simple forecasting results, it can be seen that the result of the loss function of TAGM model are significantly better than the GM model, although the results of the GM model are also seen very credible. This shows that TAGM can better fit the long-run fluctuation trend of CTTI under the impact of the uncertainty shocks. This table shows the MCS testing result for the 161-day out of simple forecasting performance. We found that only the TAGM model with oil consumption, oil supply, and economic activity shocks can pass the MCS test both under the criteria of SE, MAE, MAP, and QLike, indicating the best out of simple forecasting performance for the daily stock volatility of China's listed tourism companies. The main conclusions are as follows. We modified the GM model by adding asymmetric effect on the weighting function and the long-run volatility components. The impact of uncertainty shocks on the volatility of China's listed company shocks is significant asymmetry. Compared with the GM model, the TAGM model can better reveal the impact of uncertainty shocks on China's listed tourism company stock volatility, and its forecasting performance is better. The limitation is we only consider the impact of a single factor on the long-run volatility of CTTI. In further research, we can consider the comprehensive impact of multiple factors on the long-run volatility of China's listed tourism companies, and we can try to extend the tourism stock market in other countries. That's all my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peng Yang. And any questions or comments to Peng Yang? Okay, I have a questions, and your results show that the sudden infectious disease has a greater impact on the short-term volatility, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you explain or what do you think about it? This result.
At first, I want to add the asymmetric effect in the short run component. The short run component is the GT, but in my empirical results, the short run asymmetric effect is not significant. So I remove it in my empirical result, and I only modify in the long run volatility, and in the WSUM, the weighting function only in these two ways.
Oh, okay. Oh, thanks a lot. Any questions or comments? Okay. If there is no more questions, we can move on to the next presentation. And the next one is from Shiteng Zhong from Sun Yat-sen University. His topic is hotel demand forecasting with travel reviews, topical sentiment analysis. And Shiteng, you can get started.
Okay, I share the screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Hello everyone. I'm Shiteng. I'm from School of Business in Sun Yat-sen University in China. And I'm very glad to be here to make a presentation. And today, the study I present is hotel demand forecasting with travel reviews, a topic sentiment analysis. And this study I have two co-authors, Professor Song and Professor Wu. And I will be appreciate very much if you could give me some advice. So let's get started. And I will make presentation on 5 parts. First part is introduction. And so hotel demand forecasting is always a core element of hotel revenue management. And actually, accurate forecasts are crucial for hoteliers to allocate hotel resources efficiently. And now there has been a large body of studies that investigate hotel demand forecasts using various techniques. Some traditional studies use historical data for forecasting, but these data have the disadvantage of low frequency, single source, and this data cannot reflect the impact of sudden in a timely manner. So with the rapid development of information technology, the internet provides us with a lot of useful big data. And this big data have the advantage of high frequency and multi-source. And they can help us monitor tourist behavior and reflect tourist preferences in real time, such as web search data. And web search data have been useful in improving accuracy of hotel demand forecasting. But online texture data rarely get attention. So in this study, we talk about the use of online texture data. According to Xiang in 2015, tourists prefer to trust other travelers' comments on social platforms. And according to Ellie in 2015, nearly 95% of tourists search for online hotel reviews, and 1/3 of them consider their opinion expressed in reviews before making their booking decision. So all this data show that a review test can effectively reflect tourist needs. So online reviews deserve attention, and it can help predict rapid changes in tourist preferences. So we need to extract useful information from the texture data, and it should be going to take sentiment analysis into account. As for sentiment analysis, it has been widely used in product sales forecasting, unemployment forecasting, and stock market fluctuation forecasting, but it rarely used in tourism and hotel demand forecasting. Additionally, previous research mostly focused on the overall sentiment of reviews. But we know each reviews contains a different topic in their customer concern, and we can extract the main topics that are from customer reviews. It can help hoteliers identify the most important needs of customers. So in this study, we attempt to extract the main topic from reviews to analyze what the customer concern and consider topic sentiment variables for hotel demand forecasting. And in this study, we addressed one research questions: how to extract the main topic information from their reviews and consider topic sentiment variables to enhance hotel forecasting accuracy. So this is all about the introduction, and let's move on to the next part, literature review. We review the big data tourism and hotel forecasting literatures from 2012 to 2020, and there were 64 literatures in total. I present big data tourism and hotel forecasting. The study of this mainly has 4 types of data. First type is web search data and web shape data, and then social media statistics and hotel online texture data and online photo data. Now we can see the temporal distribution of our select articles on the right. And then it's worth noting that there are only 2 studies use sentiment analysis to analyze online texture data to conduct tourism forecasting. The study of Onder and Collender in 2019. And before this study, we have attempted to use the sentiment of texture reviews for hotel demand forecasting, and the study is under review by Tourism Economics. But these 3 studies only focus on overall sentiment score of reviews. But according to Sparks in 2016, potential customers are often not only interested in the review's general sentiment, but also in their opinion about specific features. So, but there are very few studies have been conducted to identify the fine-grained aspect level preferences of tourists. So in this study, we use topic sentiment analysis to identify the main topic in texture review. And when it comes to topic sentiment, the LDA model should be mentioned. LDA is a popular topic modeling algorithm, and LDA contributes to the goal of this paper in 3 ways. A number of topics are generated from reviews. Keywords associated with each topic are extracted, and the most relevant topic is allocated to each reviews. Moreover, there are 3 main methods to sentiment analysis: lexicon-based, keyword-based, and machine learning-based. More recently, deep learning models have also been used for sentiment analysis. And here are 2 main deep learning methods, CNN and RNN. And abundant long-term memory has been proved to have a great ability to analyze sequence data, and which is well suited for analyze texture data. So in this study, we combine LDA and LSTM to conduct topic sentiment analysis. So this is literature review, and next it's time to point out our research objectives. The studies has 3 objectives. Use latent direction-led allocation topic modeling technique to identify the main topics in texture review, and use long-term memory algorithm to extract sentiment information for all topics, and then examine the hotel forecasting ability of
I can't see your screen, 世腾。
I think we probably lost him. We can move on to the next one. Ming Tsai, I think you need to unmute yourself.
Oh, okay, okay. The next one is me, and let's move on to the next one. So I will show the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, the last presentation is by myself, and I'm Ming Tsai, a graduate student from School of Business from Yassen University. And my topic is hotel picture colors and consumers' click behavior. So this is the briefly introduce about what is going on for my presentation, and mainly divided into seven parts. An online travel agency such as Ctrip and Meituan in China are travel aggregators who interface with prospective travelers via the internet to sell travel-related products such as flights, cruises, holiday package, hotel rooms, and so on. And consumers' adoption of OTAs is a global phenomenon. In China, OTAs accounted for nearly 70% of the total online travel booking in the first half of the 2019. And on the right is a picture of the OTA app. The list usually displays product information like the product name, price, location, and etc., and as well as the product feature. The display of the hotel pictures on the search result page will affect consumers' clicks, which in turn affects the sales of hotel. So how should the hotel choose the display pictures to attract the consumers' click? The importance of a cover photograph for a business on OTA has acceptance, and color is one of the key visual dimensions of the environment. The importance of the environment and its visual components in shaping the customer's perception of space has been researched in various settings, such as stores, malls, restaurants, office, and hospitals. But little empirical research focuses on the color of online pictures. The aim of the study is to investigate how the color of the hotel cover photograph on the searching list of an OTA influences customers' click behavior. Previous research has realized the importance of hotel pictures, which can help hotel managers gain higher customer recognition and loyalty, and attract customers to have a more positive attitude towards the brand and stimulate reservation. And hotel pictures are considered as the most important factor in determining the attractiveness of the website and the booking decisions. Based on this, there are many studies focused on the photographic content. Luo use transient to recognize items in photos, and Ren use deep learning tools with pre-trained models to identify interesting differences in the contents of the photo posted by hotel managers and travelers. In the field of the color theory, research points out that different colors mean different meanings and affect human perception. Warm colors can particularly arouse positive emotions in customers, while the cold colors can trigger the feelings of calm, such as a relaxed taste. According to the assimilation effect, the warmth generated by warm colors will increase social closeness and intimacy. So it is said that the warm colors are more suitable for hotel rooms than cold colors. Existing color research methods use questionnaire surveys, many of which allowed participants to score or rank hotel pictures they manipulate, and some allow participants to enter the pretty hotel room for evaluation. For a large number of online pictures, especially in the field of social media, it is now more based on the color models, RGB color model or HSV color model, to extract color features. But this kind of analytic method rarely used in tourism and hospitality industry. Our research used the HSV model, and HSV are alternative representation of the RGB color model. Is the most closely related to the human visual system. The H describes the hue from red through yellow, green, blue to purple on the scale from 0 to 360 degrees. And S describes how saturated the color is, and that is the share of the white in a picture. And high share of the white means low saturation. And V, which is mean value, represents the brightness of the color. So here is an example of the changes in blue and yellow with the S and V. It can be seen that when the S changes from 1 to 0, the color gradually becomes lighter and turn to be white. And when the V is relatively small, both blue and yellow are displayed in black. So this research intends to empirically investigate the effect of the hue, saturation, value, or the fluctuation of HSV on consumers' click behavior. For each picture, we use the written Python script to calculate the area of the neutral color, like the black, gray, white, the warm color, red, orange, yellow, and the cold color, green, blue, and purple. At the same time, we calculate some level and fluctuation indicators, which are the mean standard deviation of hue, saturation, and value, and we convert the hue into 1 to 0, 0 to 1. The figure below is an example of calculating the area of different colors in the picture. We collected a unique dataset which includes products data, products information, and products features, and related consumer clickstream data over 4 months from an online travel agency in China. We do the following data preprocessing. We mainly eliminate items that do not belong to the hotel according to the pictures, and divide the pictures into indoor and outdoor. And we calculate the duration of product on shelf and retain the on-shelf clicks. And we also generate dummy variables for province and cities based on the product's geographic information. We build a regression model to study how the color of the product's features affect user clicks. We group the click information by product and platform, and get the number of clicks when the product is on the shelf as the dependent variables. And the independent variables we use are the color variables. Control variables are from the product information, like the page price, the original price, the on-shelf time, and the location variable like the province dummy variables and the city dummy variables. And finally, we use the platform dummy variable. This is a descriptive statistic of all the dependent and independent variables of the data. And we can see that the number of outdoor clicks in the data set is larger than that of indoors. And there are more orange areas indoors and green and blue areas outdoors. So this is the regression result of all samples. The first model adds controls and the mean standard deviation of HSV. And second, third, fourth models add specific color variables. For the all result, it means lower saturation value hue differences and higher saturation differences can attract more customers' clicks. For the color, there are more red and white and less yellow is better. And because the mean value of hue is not significant, we cannot directly determine whether warm or cold color are good. So next, we did regression of indoor and outdoor to see if there are any significant colors. The indoor results are close to the whole sample. The variables related to HSV is still significant, and only the yellow of warm color is significantly negative. The outdoor results are more significant for the cold color variables, such as red, white, gray, blue, and purple, and the standard deviation of brightness is significantly negative. So we have these findings that we can see that customers prefer the pictures with lower in saturation and brightness, less hue changes, and with higher level of saturation fluctuation. And for indoor pictures, on the basis of the previous finding, it can be fewer yellow tones. And for the but it's different for the outdoor pictures. Outdoor pictures should be equally bright across the pictures and use more red and white tones and fewer gray, blue, purple tones. So our contribution is we investigate the influence of pictures on customer behavior combined with the color theory, and based on the HSV model, we explore both the mean of HSV and the fluctuation of HSV. We focus on the influence of colors on consumer behavior from indoor and outdoor perspectives, which offer advice for hotels to display images. Future studies may add experiments to determine the causal relationship between color and consumers' behavior, and we may use image recognition technology to find out how the color of different objects affects the consumer's behavior. And in addition to the color and the content of the picture, we will try to figure out the influence of other characteristics of pictures, such as composition, lifestyle, on consumer behavior. So that's all my presentation, and thank you. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. So the dependent variable, is the number of clicks.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. So the number of clicks, do you think that will transfer to purchase behavior?
Yes, because the consumer don't click the product information, and they won't be purchased, right?
Right.
They need, yeah.
Yeah. So if that is the case, you think it is a representation of purchase behavior, potential purchase behavior, right? So
right.
if you frame your research in a consumer behavior theoretical framework, that's one of the important factors that may influence their purchase behavior or demand, potential demand, is the variable related to consumer themselves, such as income. But of course, you will not be able to collect the information on income of consumers. So my question would be, do you think the model you estimate actually is misspecified? It's not actually real reflection of consumer behavior?
Yes, there are still some variables like the consumer income. Yes, but we want to control it, but we can't get it. But this is also important. So for the future research, we can try to get that data which have the clickstream data and also the consumer basic information.
Okay.
Also, may I also answer this question? For the first one, Professor Song mentioned, indeed, the click is not a purchase behavior. We also have the purchase behavior data, but there are two stages. First, you need to click this cover photo. Then you obtain more information. Then you make a second stage decision making, decide whether I will purchase this product or not. Currently this study only focus on the first stage, whether the photo can encourage tourists to click on this photo cover photos. And also the second one, indeed, income is very important, but in this study, we don't have the data, but we do include price into the data model as a control variable.
Yeah, so the price is included, but the most important variable is missing. So therefore, there's likely the influence of those pictures may be spurious if you include the consumer variable income, and maybe those factors do not play a significant impact on consumer behavior, on consumer intention to purchase, right? So I think this is something that you have to think about it, how to explain the model and the result and the frame in a consumer behavior theoretical framework.
Yes, yeah, we need to think about it. Thank you.
I think we can bring back Sting if he's back.
Sorry, can I ask a question as well? I just wonder, do you have data for the ratings? Because it's not always the review data. So you add the price, but the review data is also quite important in whether you are considering a certain hotel offering or not. So so maybe if you try including that as well to see, well, because even if the picture is nice, but if the review is bad or the rating is bad, then people will not click on it as well. So I think as an additional control variable, you can consider that one as well.
Thank you, Andrew, for this suggestion. So you didn't include the rating variable in the model, did you?
No,
Okay,
we haven't had the rating variables like the comments. We don't have, only the pictures.
So I think we still have some time. We can bring back Sting to finish the presentation if he's online.
Yeah, yes, I'm very sorry, just my network is broken, so I can't hear my presentation. Yes, so can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I will begin from research objectives. In this study, we have 3 objectives. We use LDA topic modeling to identify the main topics in textual review and use long short-term memory algorithm to extract more information for all topics. And then examine the hotel forecasting ability of the proposed topic sentiment analysis. And the fourth part is empirical results. Our independent variable is topic sentiment of review test and review counts and rating. And our dependent variables is hotel occupancy rate of 5-star hotels in Guangzhou. And let's look at the diagram on the right. The study divided into 4 steps. And the first step is data retrieval. And we crawl 94 5-star hotels in hotels reviews from Ctrip, and the review data include review tests, review counts, and review and rating. And before modeling the topic in step 2, we did some pre-processing, tokenize and remove punctuation and remove stop words. And step 2, we carry out in 2 steps. The first step is to use LDM mallet for LDM modeling, and then we use LDM Wix for visualization. And after LDM modeling, we can select the number of topics through 2 indicators, perplexity and coherence. When the perplexity is lower and the coherence value is higher, the number of topics is optimal. So we can find that 5 topics are the best choice. And then we obtain the top 10 keywords for the 5 topics. And then topics can be defined according to the weight of the keywords. We further use LDM Wix for visualization analysis, and we can see the picture on the right. The size of the circle indicates the importance of the topic, and the bar chart reflects the weight of keywords in each topic. And we carefully observing the keywords of each topic, we can define the topic. And the first topic is about hotel room. And the second topic is hotel facilities, and then hotel service, and hotel environment, and hotel surrounding. So finally, we obtain 5 topics that hotel customer focus on every day, which can help us to understand the potential needs of customers. And then let's move on to the step 3, sentiment analysis. And we use long short-term memory to analyze the sentiment of 5 topics. And we can see the step 3 on the right. 5 topics can be extracted from each review by applying LDA model, and then we categorize each review by maximum topic attribution. And after obtaining 5 topic series, we perform long short-term memory analysis, and we can see the result of long short-term memory classification. The accuracy is more than 0.8. And after long short-term memory analysis, we construct bullish sentiment index. This index borrowed the idea from stock market. It has been proved to have a great predictive ability, and this has been confirmed in our previous studies under review by Tourism Economics. And this is the result of sentiment analysis. And we can find that the topic sentiment decreases during the COVID-19 to some extent. So the last step is about hotel demand forecasting. And here we use review counts as the proxy, because in Ctrip, only tourists with real experience in the hotel can post their reviews. So it's reasonable to use review counts as the dependent variable. And we look at the timeline. We divide the data set into LSTM trend period and LSTM test period. And the output of LSTM model in the test period will are imported as the input of the hotel demand forecasting model. And the data set was divided into a training set and testing set for hotel demand forecasting. And let's look at the forecasting results. Compared with Arimidex model incorporating overall sentiment, the model incorporating topic sentiment variables can improve the forecasting accuracy. And compared with ARIMA, forecasting accuracy can also be improved with the exception of 4-step ahead forecasting. And finally, we end up with conclusions. And this study combined LDA and long-term memory to conduct topic sentiment analysis. And there are 5 main topics actually from customer review by applying LDA and then LSTM model are used to construct sentiment indices from the review test of 5 topics, and this could help us with demand forecasting. And compared with overall sentiment variables, the model with topic sentiment variables enhance the forecasting accuracy. And the study have 2 contributions. And the study is the first attempt to apply topic sentiment analysis for hotel demand forecasting. And the study took the initial attempt to introduce the long-short memory model to construct topic sentiment variables in hospitality research. And the study have 2 future directions. The topic sentiment variables and other causal variables can be combined to predict the hotel demand. And then other forecasting techniques such as combination forecasting and scenario forecasting may be combined with review data for hotel demand forecasting. So this is all my presentation, and I would appreciate very much if you could give me some suggestions. So thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, and any questions or comments to Shiteng? Okay, I have a question that in your sentiment analysis, the sentiment of hotel facility has a serious decline in the March 2020, and some sentiment values are negative. So what do you think of this result?
Oh, thank you, Taiming. And I think the decline may be influenced by the COVID-19 and sentiment topic variables reflect the fluctuation in the context of COVID-19. Top sentiment can effectively reflect tourist potential needs during this time. So we use these sentiment variables to bed. Yes, it's better for hotel demand forecasting.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, due to the time limit, this session is over. And if you have further questions, you can communicate privately. And thank you for your participation.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.